Every year, lots of games get spooky time updates ranging from new visuals, maps, cosmetics, or even special events and new gameplay mechanics. Today, I've got you covered with over a dozen Halloween updates. I'm live open mic, let's talk about it. Before we get started, a couple of things. I have not played every single one of these updates. My plan was to actually do one video per game, but we're getting pretty late into October now, and by the time I got through all of these, it would have been Halloween or even into November, and most of these events would have been done. So I wanted to do them all in just one shot so you have time to check them all out. Second, and I hate that I have to put this caveat in the video, but just because I'm putting the game in the video doesn't mean that I think it's necessarily a good game, just that it's a game that I saw got a Halloween update, and if you have it in your library, it might be worth checking out. With that said, let's start off with Among Us VR. This is a built for VR version of the popular flat screen game from Shell Games. Right now they're doing what's called their Bone Bash event, and this is going to last all the way through to the first week of November. In this, they've taken their main map, which is the Skull 2, and completely redecorated it for Halloween. There are so many little elements you'll see when you play this map. I played this for about 2 hours with a bunch of other content creators, and I found myself really playing poorly, not getting my tasks done, getting myself killed because I was just standing and looking around to kind of see what little Easter eggs I could find. There's haunted portraits that when you walk by them, they'll look like an Among Us character, and then if you look away, they turn into a ghost. There's slime that makes a really horrible squishing sound when you walk through it. There's a cauldron that you can stand in and have someone take a picture of you in it, or you can take a selfie yourself. There's a seance board in the middle of the cafeteria where if enough people stand at it, this like spooky green slime thing pops up in the middle. It's kind of hard to describe. This is the only map that got this treatment. The other main map, Polis Point, looks the same still, but Skull 2 has been the most popular map in the game anyway because it was the first. So if you haven't hopped to Among Us VR for a while, go ahead and check this out. It's actually a lot of fun, and it really kind of adds to the atmosphere. I had a lot of fun playing this. On top of that, there are also 2 limited time packs. The first one is called Trick Picks, which has a matching hat and glove combination to turn you into a werewolf or an undead person with like a powder person hat and some undead ethereal looking gloves. The other one's called Neat Treats. It gives you like a pumpkin hat, a witch hat, and gloves to match. Hyperdash is a free-to-play competitive team-based shooter from Triangle Factory, the people who also made Breachers. They've recently added an all-new Halloween map available with pumpkins everywhere and some kind of like spooky lighting and vibes. They've also added new multiple mutators, which are like perks and like changes to the gameplay to keep it fresh for players. So there's one called Pumpkinhead, where just what it sounds like, every character on your team and the other team have pumpkin heads. There's a mist mutator that cakes the map in a layer of mist, so it adds pretty much a layer of fog, so visibility gets a little bit harder. There's a bunch of little things here to freshen up the game, since Triangle Factory's new game, Breachers, has gotten a lot more attention because it's proven to be so popular, and frankly, it's their newer game. Hyperdash is free to play, so if you're worried about lobbies being overrun by kids, frankly, you're going to find quite a bit of that here. But because the game is free, just grab your friends who have VR headsets, tell them to download it, and hop into it for some Halloween fun. It's a good time. Dungeons of Eternity is a co-op procedurally generated dungeon crawler for up to 3 players. Their new Halloween update redecorates the lobby with pumpkins and other Halloween themed options. You can also find new cosmetics in the game as you play. So for instance, when I was playing with Samson for the Let's Talk Oculus podcast on my stream recently, one of the things he unlocked when we opened the chest was a Halloween head. So now I can equip his character to have a Halloween head, but it's actually like a mask that goes over his real character's face, so you can see his beard under it. It's actually pretty funny. All right, Samson, turn to me and say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. In addition, they've opened up a new game mode called the Sandbox mode, which is just what it sounds like. It enables you to create dungeons of your own for you and your friends to run through, instead of relying on the game's randomly generated dungeons and then kind of figuring it out as you go along. So now you can set up special challenges and things like that. Lastly, there are 3 new paid bundles. One is a paid supporter bundle that gives you a really cool looking night armor. The other 2 are both Halloween themed. There's one for a zombie avatar. This one's actually pretty cool because one of the sides of your body is actually carved out and you can kind of see like the entrails inside there. Pretty neat to look at in motion. The other one is a skeleton avatar, so you can look like the dozens upon dozens and dozens of skeletons you actually kill within the game itself. Epic Rollercoasters is a free-to-play roller coaster simulator similar to what you find in like an entertainment complex like a Dave & Buster's, where you put on your VR headset and you ride a number of different roller coasters. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. You and a friend can ride a variety of different roller coasters, and in some of them you actually pick up guns that can do target practice and try to run your way up the leaderboard. Their new free-to-play map is called Candyland Boolicious. I've ridden this a couple of times now. It's about 2 or 3 minutes long, so something you can hop in and out of pretty quickly. And there's like vampires that jump out at you and ghosts. There's actually a Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th movies type character that will swing a knife at you. It's actually a lot of fun. None of it's super scary, but this is not a game that's really meant to be scary. Having said that, I had a lot of fun with it, and the game's free to play, so go grab it. Then there's Grokit from the company I work for, 3 Pound Games. Grokit is a hand tracking based mixed reality party game inspired by games like WarioWare or Mario Party. You and up to 3 friends compete in a series of hand gesture based micro games like blasting demons with your hands which turn to frost blasters, using telekinetic force with your hands almost like you're a Jedi wielding the Force in Star Wars to score points in a bunch of different games, including the Halloween themed one where you control a bunch of skeletons almost like you're a necromancer. We've added a new cat avatar. Almost every person at 3 Pound Games actually has a cat for a pet. Some of them have multiple cats. With the new cat avatar came a set of cat emojis. We also added a bunch of dragon emojis to tie into our other game, Space Dragon. And we've added a Halloween variant of the second most popular game in Grokit called Claws Out, where your hands become cat paws so you can like retract your nails from to pop balloons or other elements depending on what type of year it is. Because this is Halloween, you're actually destroying ghosts, but if you hit the werewolves start floating around, you actually lose points. This is the 5th free update for Grokit and just went live today as I record this video, so do your boy a favor, go check it out, support the company. Death Horizon Reloaded is an arcade zombie shooter from way back in the Oculus Go and Samsung Gear days. This game also got the Quest 3 visuals update. I'll talk more about that in a separate video. For Halloween, they just took the entire campaign and dotted pumpkins along the way. This doesn't really change the gameplay, and frankly compared to something like the Among Us update or the new map in Hyperdash, this one felt pretty minimal if I'm honest, but if this is a game that you've already ran through several times, it at least gives you something new to look at. Pencil is a mixed reality drawing assistant app where you lay a real piece of paper and get a real pencil right there in front of you, and then once you boot the app, it will actually overlay what you're supposed to draw and then walk you through the steps of completing the full sketch. Big shout out to Samson for the Let's Talk Oculus podcast for shooting this video for me. Pencil has added a bunch of new Halloween sketches like vampires, pumpkins, and things like that you can overlay and then draw a pumpkin from start to finish. So it doesn't really matter if you're the artistic type or someone like me who can't draw to save his life. This game does a really good job of walking through all the steps with intuitive voice commands and the overlay really just showing you where to draw your lines correctly. Medieval Dynasty New Settlement is a VR adaptation of the flat screen game that's basically a medieval city builder. This one has a full campaign where you basically are building up your town from scratch. First starting with building your own house, getting married, building log cabins and hunter cabins, and basically building out an entire town from out in the middle of nowhere. For Halloween, they've added an entirely new quest to task you to go to the swamp where you'll find basically what becomes a treasure hunt. After you unlock the first part, dotted over the entire map are 15 different locations of skulls that you need to collect, and after you finish that, you'll get a special prize out of it. You also unlock new recipes for like a skull-based xylophone, some new soups like pumpkin soup, and be able to plant pumpkins in your garden if you choose to do so. I love this game. I spent well over 50 hours in it across 2 different builds, and I haven't had time to play all the way through this yet, so this footage you're seeing here is pretty early, but the game's already a lot of fun, and I do plan to complete this side quest. Outta Hand is an adorable ARM-based locomotion platformer. The easiest comparison here is Gorilla Tag, but in this one you're actually going through a full story campaign. For Halloween, they've added a couple of new things. 1, they've changed the menu up to give it a Halloween treatment, and 2, they've added a new avatar they're calling Skeleborn, and this avatar is actually going to be permanent. So at certain points in the game, you can actually switch which avatar you're using from the main one that everyone uses to whatever ones you've unlocked, so you can go back and forth between that and the Skeleborn. Untogether is a 1v1 ghost hunting game where you play as 1 of 2 characters. Either you're playing as the hunter who's trying to complete a series of tasks in a haunted house to reveal the ghost and then capture it and win the game, or if you're the ghost, you're trying to use all these distractions, flickering the lights, moving the table, making sounds, things like that, to distract the hunter as much as possible until you get to a point where you can siphon off enough energy out of them and then possess them, and now you win the game. They're doing a special Halloween event. This ends on November 5th. I'm just going to read straight from the dev post. Collect 100 candies scattered throughout the maps during matches to unlock an exclusive pumpkin head accessory. This game is from Karma Studios, who made what I think is a criminally underrated game, The Wizard's Dark Times. Also, Hunt Together is currently on the Quest Plus system if you're on the Quest platform, so you can actually get it for free and try it out for yourself. Skyclimb is a first-person VR platformer inspired by games like Fall Guys from VR Monkey. You might know them from their other game Galaxy Kart. Their spooky update, like a lot of other games on this list, reimagines the lobby with some Halloween-themed aesthetics. There's also new avatars to let you play as a bat, as a demon, and they've added new daily challenges that are Halloween specific. This is another one I haven't had a chance to hop into yet, but I want to make sure you guys were aware in case you have it in your library. We're still waiting on the sequel to the Exorcist Legion that was supposed to be co-op called the Exorcist Legion Sin from Fun Train VR. Well, okay, maybe some of us are waiting for it. This game scared the piss out of me, so I'm not exactly rushing to get back into it. However, if you've already completed the main campaign, all 5 chapters of it, and you're looking for something else to do to go back into that world, they've added a new epilogue, which is basically a story extension that's going to add more to the lore, expanding the story you just went through in those 5 previous chapters, and most likely scare the heck out of you. This is the only what I would call truly scary game on this list, so if you're looking for some genuine frights, go hop in this and check out that epilogue. Let me know how it is, because I'm probably not going to play it. No More Rainbows is another ARM-based platformer like Outta Hand. They're actually bringing back something called, I think I said this right, Bisoul's Backroom. I might say that wrong, Bisou. And what this is essentially a maze that you and your friends kind of race through to try to get to the end, while this ethereal creature named Bisou is actually trying to stalk you. The catch to this is that beast is not the only thing haunting you. There are actually ghosts of other beasts within the maze that you can run into that will stop or impede your progress. This event, just like last year, is time limited, so if you're kind of sitting around thinking, okay, I'll get to it eventually, you might want to hop into it now before it just disappears and you forgot all about it. The last game on the list is Stilt, and I'm saving this one for last because technically it's not available yet. Their post on the site formerly known as Twitter reads, Hops of Horror is coming to Stilt on October 28th. Get ready for a spooky new multiplayer area, item hunts, jump scares, and new enemies. Don't miss out, invite your friends, and join the fun. Stilt is yet another ARM-based platformer, and the funny thing is all these games play kind of differently. Like moving to No More Rainbows isn't the exact same as Outta Hand, and the same thing goes for Stilt, so it requires like a different skill set to play each. Frankly, I'm trash at all of them, so I really don't play these games a whole lot, but for people who are really good at that movement, and I know there's a lot of you, my kid is one of them, she loves Gorilla Tag. There's a bunch of these games out there doing Halloween updates that you should check out. That's the whole list. If you know of a game that got a Halloween update that I missed, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.